Welcome back to the channel, everybody. I hope you're having a beautiful, prosperous, and abundant Wednesday today. And if you're not quite feeling it today, you already know, sprinkle a little bit of that and avalanches of prosperity and abundance coming your way. And today what I wanted to do for this video is I just really wanted to do a vlog and talk about something that right now is really prevalent in our society and is causing a rift amongst people, and it needs to be addressed. And everything that I'm going to say on this video is completely opinion. I don't judge anybody either way. It's just what I've seen happen in today's society, what I believe is happening in regards to this divide that we're seeing, and ultimately where I see this leading to. So, unfortunately, right now, we live in a society where you're turning the news on and you're seeing this big rift between politicians, between states, between people. Doesn't matter what the topic is about. Doesn't matter if it's political, Republican or Democrat. Doesn't matter if you believe the state should be open or the state should be closed. Doesn't matter if you believe that we should be doing mandatory vaccines or we shouldn't be doing mandatory vaccines. That's not what this is about. Everybody's entitled to their own opinion, and we as people need to respect those opinions, because what we decided as a country when we founded the United States of America is we were okay with inclusion of everybody, inclusion of people's religion, inclusion of people's beliefs, inclusion of people's opinions, inclusion of people having the right to do whatever they wanted to do, because at the end of the day, that's what makes this country great, because we are a free country. And so what I'm going to be talking about is really honed in a little bit, and that's our political system. Now, our political system is divided into two different parties, Republican and Democrat, right? So you're either far right or you're far left, and you believe, for the most part, you believe or have an opinion on one side or the other. We should be doing this or we should be doing that. And what I think is happening right now is I think that this two-party system that our country was founded on, that has been persisting for a couple hundred years, I think what we're seeing is we're starting to see it crumble a little bit. And here's what I mean by that. It doesn't matter what side of the fence you fall on. Unfortunately, when it comes to voting in people that are ultimately supposed to be the leaders of our country, you have to look at what side they're on and what they believe. And let's say that you believe in 70% of what they're saying, but the other 30% you don't believe in. You're going to vote on that side because, well, I believe in most of what this person's talking about, right? Or I'm going to vote for this side because my parents have always voted for this side, and their ideologies speak to where the country is. That is a tainted way of thinking, because we're basing our political system on what was, not what is right now or what we want to see in the future. And so here's what I mean by that. If you look at the ballots today, or you look at any debates that happen, or you even turn on the news, for instance, a lot of them are pushing their own agenda. We believe this, or we believe that. And they're not allowing anybody else to have an opinion on this matter. It's, if we get voted into office, this is what we're going to do, period. That's it. Doesn't matter what anybody else has to say. Well, what you're doing is you are excluding other people. You're not giving them a chance to step up and say, well, yes, we agree with that, but why not look at this as well? These political parties are being closed-minded. They're saying that this is what we believe and this is it, that's it, no matter what, period. But that's not where we're at as a society anymore. We are at a point in our society where we want to have our freedoms. We want to evolve with the times. We want to have a say in things. We want to expand our freedoms. We want to have an opinion. We want to be able to push the boundaries of what's possible. We don't want to be held down with an agenda. We're starting to see that if an agenda is being pushed on us, it's not in our best interest. It's only because the political system believes it's in our best interest that they're pushing this agenda, and they're not allowing us as people to have our own say in things. They're not letting us have a right to say this is right and this is wrong. This is what we believe as a political system, and this is what we're going to push, even though it contradicts where we're going as a society. We've created the internet, but now the internet is being censored, right? We've created a monetary system, but our monetary system is being taken advantage of. And if that's what's going to happen, we have to think of other ways to come up with other ideas to combat this. And unfortunately, this isn't a Republican or Democrat system anymore. That system doesn't work because we're starting to realize that with these two-party systems, either one of them is corrupt one way or the other. Maybe it's a little bit of corruption, maybe it's a lot of corruption, but ultimately our society is being run by a bunch of people who at the end of the day are only interested in themselves and are no longer interested in the people. And what they're doing is they're using fear tactics in order to hold us down, to keep us complacent, to keep their agendas in mind. And so where I think we're going as a society, to wrap this all up, is we're seeing the death of the two-party system. And it doesn't matter what side you see it on. We're starting to see that people are waking up. People are starting to realize that it doesn't matter who I'm voting for at this point. This whole system has been rigged so that we don't win, or we can win, but it's very tricky for us to win. And I think people are starting to realize that. They're starting to see that with what's been established, not only from a financial standpoint, but a political standpoint, to a law standpoint, to an education standpoint, all of this stuff has been structured in such a manner that it's next to impossible. I don't like to use the word impossible because anything is possible, and I do believe it is possible for anybody to break out of the norm that we're seeing today, but it makes it more tricky with the rules that are being put in place, with the leaders that are being put in place, with our systems that are being put in place, with our censorships that are being put in place, with our media systems that are in place. All of these things have been set up in such a way to only benefit either the Republican or Democratic political system. And that's no longer what this is about, because we as people in the United States and on this planet, at the end of the day, ultimately want to see each other succeed. And you can say that's not true if you want to. I don't believe it. If you could win, and your neighbor can win, and your mother can win, and your sister could win, and your family and friends could win, and nobody ever had to experience a loss or a lack or anything like that, you would want them to win. And so we're starting to realize that it is possible for us to work together in unison to create whatever we want to create in our lives. Unfortunately, we're being held down by a two-party political system that worked for us for hundreds of years but no longer works. We're more of a freedom-type thinking group, and we're getting to a point where we realize that I'm not going to vote for Republican or Democrat anymore. What I'm going to vote for is a human being. I'm going to vote for a human being who will listen to all sides and come up with a fair compromise, because that's what this planet's about. It's about inclusion of all. It's the inclusion of, I respect your opinion, but I respect your opinion. I respect where you're at from a financial standpoint, and I respect where you're at from a financial standpoint. I respect your goals, and I also respect your goals. I respect the level of education you want, and I respect the level of education you want. And they come up with a fair compromise, and they do it from a standpoint of not having a political bias or an agenda being pushed on somebody. This is somebody that's for the people and by the people, and will continue to push that and lead us into the next generation of free thinkers and people who are ultimately for the people, because this is a different time in our society, and it's a time of awakening where people realize that things are going to have to change in this country in order for us to reach that next evolution of where this society is ultimately going to become. So I just kind of wanted to share my feelings on that, because I think that what we're seeing in today's society is very misconstrued. It's something that's being pushed on us. It's an agenda that's being pushed on us, regardless if it's a Republican or Democrat. And unfortunately, the agenda is being pushed so hard that it's dividing people into a Republican or Democrat type format, or whatever format you'd like to elicit it to. But at the end of the day, that format isn't real, and it's not working. And I'm sorry, I don't want to say it's not real, because it is real, but it's not working anymore. People are starting to understand that there's more to it than just Republican or Democrat, black or white. There's a gray area. There's a fair compromise where everybody can win if we do this correctly, but we have to do this correctly. But in order for us to do it correctly, we're going to have to understand each other's side and work together to make this happen. And the first political person to come into office that is actually going to look at both sides and do it fairly is going to change this society for the better, and I'm excited for it. So I just wanted to just get on here and make this quick video vlog, because we are all one at the end of the day, and we are all working together for the betterment of our society. And the second that we can put these differences aside and not associate ourselves with this or that, but just associate ourselves with being humans and working together, the faster we're going to lead this country and the society in a direction of abundance for everybody. Because I think what you'll start to notice is that there is enough for everybody to go around if we structure our plans correctly and focus on inclusion and getting the best of everything, because there really is a best of everything if it's done correctly. So just wanted to get on here. Other than that, thank you guys so much for the support. If you haven't subscribed to this channel at this point, definitely hit that subscribe button. I'm very thankful for those of you that tune into these videos and support the channel. Other than that, I hope you have a fantastic rest of your week. You already know.